Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, it is Divine, and this will be my first video tutorial on how to make enemies walk from left to right and how to make them turn around if they bump into things or if they run into the edge of the map or, ground. So I already imported my player here, all presets and stuff, so I'm not going to use those. I'm going to create a new folder and just use the sprites that I already have. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get ground. So let's see if we can get something here that will work. Alright, so we're going to use this. And we're going to create a game object and call it ground. And we're going to put that outside of grass. I'm going to put the grass in there, and then we're going to put grass outside of our player. So now we're going to scale this to 2. I think that's big enough, yeah. And you duplicate that, Control D. Control D once again, and I'm gonna do this to get a big enough ground. Alright, so now I'm gonna create a new empty game object, and we're just gonna give it a physics 2D and a box collider. And pretty much we're just going to use this to instead of giving each of our boxes a collider, I'd rather do it this way. It's just more convenient for me. I like it better than creating a box collider from V01. Alright, so now that we have ground and we have that, now we need to import our monster, and we're going to make it a bear. So we're going to give it a sprite renderer, so that we give it a skin or sprite, and this is again a bear that I have from my own sprites. So bear 1 will do. Okay, bear 1, and now we're going to scale this up to probably 3. Yeah, that's a good size. Alright, so now we're going to give the bear some more physics. So nope, let's give it a rigid body, and let's give it a box collider. That's fine for now. You guys can edit it to your own preferences. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have the bear check the ground so that he can walk. So let's create a new empty under bear and call this ground check. And we need to also give the bear, that's the player, that's the bear. Oh yeah, we need to give our bear an animation as well. So let's get that down. Window, animation. Let's create a new one, let's set this one YouTube tutorial and call it bear walk. And now we're just going to go to sprites. And since he is facing left, we're going to make him walk left. I did 5, 4, and 3 more. 2, and then 1. And this is going to be way too fast, so I'm going to change this to about 8. And you need to hit enter apparently now, so okay, that looks good. So now our bear has an animation, and if we go to our bear now, you can see that he cycles into bear, and that is fine. Now we need to add another boolean called grounded. So right now we have our things checked. Now for our ground check, we need to add a box collider, and we're going to edit that. So pretty much we want our ground check to be on his front leg, because what the ground check will pretty much do is check if there is ground under him, and if there is, then it will force them to turn around. So this is what I have right now. Alright, so now we just need to create, we have the animation, so let's see what happens if we run it. You can of course see that he was walking upwards. So on our bear, let's lock his Z rotation so that he only, there you go. Alright, but he should drop. Rigid body, okay. Why hasn't he dropped? Anyhow, we can see if we can fix that later. Alright, so now let me grab the bear and put him up. Okay, now he drops, but somehow there's ground here, it seems. But we'll fix that in just a bit. But right now, let's create some scripts, and we're going to create one called bear2, and this is we're going to set everything. So what we need to do now is just set up his speed. So public integer speed, and we're going to set that to 1 off the bat. We need to set a boolean called ground, a public boolean called ground, public boolean ground equal to false. And now we just need to get his rigid body, so private rigid body 2D, and call this bear, and we need to also get private animator anim. So now what we need to do is at the start of the game we need to set the bear equals to the bear, so bear the game object that get component bear, rigid body 2D, and that should give us the rigid body. And we also need to set our animator into our game animator. So game object again, get component animator. Okay, so on our void update function, we just need to set our booleans, or our boolean currently, so we need to set our, let's call this grounded, and let's not start it off yet. So boolean. In the game we call it grounded. Here we call it grounded with an underbar, or not underbar with not capitalized letters. And when we go to our player movement or our bear movement, we need to do it in our fix update. And what we need to check first is if grounded, then our player should move. So we need to do bear that translate, or transform that translate, which pretty much just shifts the item from one side to another, and we just need to do it by our negative speed times time, delta time. And I am doing negative speed because my bear is facing left, and so we need to make him walk left. Now if he's not grounded, so else, we need a bear that transform that rotate. So now we just pretty much need to rotate the bear around. We just need to do speed, because then he would be doing the other direction, time dot delta time, and then 0, and actually we need to do 180 degrees here, because that will flip the y-axis. And that should check for movement, and that is our bear. Let's attach that to our bear. Let's not forget that that's always something that could go really bad. So attach bear to that. Alright. Now we need to create a ground check script. Call this ground check 2. And to make sure, yep, I've done that. So now let's open up our ground check. And what we need here is an instance of the bear, so private bear2 bear, and on start we need to get bear body. So bear equals game object that get component bear2. Actually, a component in parent, and because this is under bear, so you see in the ground check, this is where the script will go, and this is under bear, and bear has the bear2 script. Okay, so what we need to do now is void untrigger enter 2D. We're going to do a bear that grounded equals true. So whenever the bear hits the ground, it will start walking according to our bear2 script. So now bear untrigger stay 2D bear that grounded equals true. So that will pretty much make it so that when it stays on the ground, it will still be grounded, and so we'll keep walking. Now we need to do one more, and it's on trigger exit 2D bear that grounded equals false. So that way now when the bear is no longer in the ground, he will pretty much rotate. So this is the function that will go into play. So save all and save all. And let's attach a ground check to our ground check. And if we run it, Okay. Okay, let's not do that. So let's... Okay, so our bear is not falling onto the ground, which I do not understand why. We don't have any other colliders here. Let me see if I can make the ground check a little bit smaller. See if that's anything. Oh, okay, that's what it was. It's not a trigger. It needs to be a trigger. Okay. So now we should have the bear at least turning around when it runs at the edge. All right. So that's good so far. Now what I need to do is I'm just going to make the what's it called? I'm going to make the camera follow the player. That way we don't. There you go. That way we get to see when he runs from one side to the other side. Now I'm going to add another component which will check whenever the bear collides. So it's pretty much another ground check. So let's create a game object and call it wall check. And let's add another parameter called collide. And under our bear script, let's go here. I need to pretty much just add another if statement. And let's add a boolean here. Public boolean, call this has collided. And we need to set it here as well, so nm.set bool and collide, which we called it in our interface, we need to set to has collided. And now if has collided, then we just need to rotate it. So pretty much copy the same thing. And that should be good. And now we just need to create a has collided script. And I'm just going to call this wall check 2. And a wall check is exactly the same as our ground check, so we just need to copy all this and copy it, except that now here that is fine. Here instead of grounded we just need to change it to has collided. And I think that's how I spelt it in the bear 2. Yes. So now I just need to make that statement there and there. And on our wall check we need to attach. Okay, we have that, so fix that. So now on our wall check we need to add a component and physics 2D and a box collider. Let's edit this. So pretty much just the front part of them. If he happens to collide with something with that, then he will turn around and make it his trigger as well. Like I said, project. Okay, so now wall check needs to have the wall check script. And since I myself am a wall, he should turn around when he hits me. Which is what we want the animal to do, which right now it's working very well. So he should flip. Again, these are things that you can tweak at your advantage. And now he will check. So there you go, fellas. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and again, I can make you guys another tutorial on how to make him take damage. As it is just an update function or an update tutorial on this, and but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed.